Let me introduce to you your first speaker for today, Damian Gerke. Damian is a leadership coach, author, and learning and development professional with Houston-based coaching firm Entre Results. Damian has coached business startups, leaders at Fortune 500 companies, and many in between. He's a credentialed member of the Association for Talent Development, International Coaching Federation, and Harrison Assessments International. He's the author of 3 books and contributes relevant content regularly on LinkedIn. He lives in St. Pete, Florida with his wife Cheryl and enjoys cycling and writing as a hobby. So please, with a big RGA welcome, help me welcome your first speaker, Damian Gerke. Come on up, Damian.
That, frankly, I am very passionate about. I want to present to you an operational approach to doing your business that I'm confident will make a difference for you. It's simple, but it's incredibly profound and powerful when it's executed in the right way. The reason we're doing this is to set you up for a concentrated effort for the next 90 days so that you can finish this next quarter that we're in a strong fashion. I also want to go back and thank the speakers from the last RGA Speaks event, Christiana, Evelinda, and Steve, for what they talked about. I just so much appreciate their comments on clarity of purpose, clarity of value that you provide to your customers and others in your business and services, and in clarity of action, being in a mindset where we're ready to take action. So they really set the foundation for what I'm going to talk about, and I hope to build on that foundation as we move forward. So what I want you to think about is I want you to set a goal, right? So just sort of, if you would, kind of close your eyes and think about setting a goal of how you will hit your revenue goal for the next 90 days. Now, sometimes just getting your mind around a goal like that, you get a lot of extraneous thoughts. You get some emotions, maybe like, oh, I'm anxious about that. I'm afraid. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. So what I want to encourage you to do is just push all those distractions aside for the moment. So just close your eyes and think about, like, fast forwarding into the future, 90 days into the future, and imagining that you have hit that goal, that goal has already been achieved, and you are now looking back at today, right? So hopefully that sets you up in a more positive mindset. It's a more positive frame of mind. But what we're going to talk about tonight is I want to give you a framework to go around that goal so that you can capture it. I want to give you a goal-setting process that will help you drive execution in your business. This process is really, frankly, the most important part in a strategic planning process, because it's the part that gets executed. Like the rest of the content on your business plan, your strategic plan, might be great, but if you can't execute it, then you really can't move forward. So this is where the rubber meets the road. This is, in my experience, this is where companies either falter or fail or succeed. It's what sets successful companies apart from their competition. And I mean, successful companies do a lot of things well, but at this, what we're going to talk about here, they excel at, and I want to demonstrate why. So the framework here that we're talking about is really around goal setting. And frankly, more often than not, when we talk about goal setting, the reality is they just don't get achieved. We don't see the results that we expect. We get limited results or short time achievement that, lasts for a little bit but can't sustain. And hopefully that's not a surprise, right? Does the phrase New Year's resolution mean anything to you, right? Like, it's one I've found in my coaching, it's one of the most frustrating things that people have to deal with, that they set goals and they don't get achieved. And, if you stop to think about why that is, my experience is that we don't achieve our goals because we're stuck in our status quo. I've got a quote that I use all the time with business owners and leaders, and it really exposes what I'm talking about in a crystal way. It says, "You're perfectly positioned to get the results you're currently getting." Makes sense, right? It makes perfect sense. Like, if you like the results that you're getting right now, like, don't bother setting any goals. Just keep doing what you're doing. All things being equal, you're going to be right. You're going to be in high cotton. You're going to be doing just what you want. But if you're not getting the results you want and expect, then something has to be different. You have to go about it with a different approach. If you want to see something different, you have to do something different. So I'll give you an example. Like, let's say I want to increase my revenue by 5%. Right? Okay, cool. But if you don't do anything different, what do you have? The only thing you have to leverage to accomplish that goal is the same approach that you've been using all these years. And that's like, doesn't make any sense. Stop and think about that. What it's going to drive you to do is just work harder, right? Spend 10 more hours a week over what you're currently doing to achieve this goal. Who wants that? Negative. I want to get rid of 10 hours in my week so that I can focus on things that are really, really important. So just having the same approach, it's just a setup for frustration and a setup for failure. It puts you, it's like it's like rearranging the deck chairs on a boat that's still tied to the dock. You're not going anywhere. You're expending a lot of effort and a lot of activity, but you're not going anywhere. So what do we want to do with that? Well, the main point with all this is, and this is so key, it's so key, is that this is another Einstein quote: you can't solve a problem using the same mindset that created the problem in the first place. We've all heard the other Einstein quote that says it's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. So we want to go a different direction. We want to go about it a different way. So if we think about setting goals and setting goals in an effective way, the goals really need to be all about change. You need to change what you are doing, how you are doing it. I like to think of it as a goal should affect at least one of four things. One, what do I need to start doing that I'm not doing now? Two, what do I need to stop doing that's undermining my achievement and success? Three, what do I need to correct? And four, how do I need to grow? How do we need to get better? So a goal should address at least one of those four things. Something to start doing, something to stop doing, something to correct, and something to grow. Also, an effective goal will require three things of you, and it will also provide these three things back to you, right? So the first thing is leadership. You have to have a leadership approach when you talk about setting a goal. So part of leadership is envisioning a future that doesn't exist, right? If we're talking about 90 days in the future, setting a goal that you will achieve in 90 days, you need to go out and get your flux capacitor and go through your time portal and go 90 days into the future and then look back. You need to sit there for a moment and just feel let it pour over you, just the reality that, man, this goal has been achieved. It feels good. I can see success. When I look back, I can see where I was. Now there's a gap between where I was and where I am now, and now I have perspective on what to do. So the thing about leadership is it has to be, I'll say it this way, the more clear you can be on that future state, the more compelling it is, and the harder you will work, and the easier it'll be to get your team to devote effort to achieving that goal. So leadership is absolutely important. It is setting goals and achieving them is a leadership function. Second, accountability. A good goal is, they're truth tellers. You know exactly where you are and you know exactly where you aren't. A good goal should have enough data and content in it that you can tell if you're 50% there. You can tell if you're 80% there. You can tell if you're 120% there. They provide accountability. They will ask accountability of you, and they will provide you and your team with accountability. So the third thing is focus. Focus, and I want to illustrate this way. I wanted to shine this at the camera, but I was afraid it would mess up their camera. So, like a flashlight, right? What do you see? If I shine this in your face, aside from being irritated, you'll see a bright light, right? So light is basically just electromagnetic energy. Not trying to get too technical on you here, but it's just electromagnetic energy. This is kind of in the white spectrum, but really there's a whole bunch of wavelengths, and it's scattered. It's going in a bunch of different directions. If I pointed a laser at you, it would probably blind you. Not just irritate you, it would blind you. So what I find is focus is one of those things that we just struggle with. We get into the work process and we start doing things, and there's distractions and things, initiatives are pulling us one way and pulling us another, and stuff happens and hurricanes come and all that kind of stuff, and it's so easy to get distracted. But goals, effective goals, when they're written well and focused on, they let you be a laser, not a flashlight. A flashlight's good for standing in a dark room and trying to get around, but a laser cuts through steel. Which one do you want to be in your business? Right? Okay, so I want to get in now to the nuts and bolts of this goal planning, goal setting process. And I've got 3 columns shown here. On the left, and I'm going to show you some content here, some example content, but I want you to be thinking, bring back that goal that we talked about hitting your revenue targets in the next 90 days. I want you to think about a number. What does that number represent for you and for your business? Right? So I want you to sort of fill in the blank. And the key is, remember, you've got your flux capacitor in your pocket, so you've already achieved this. I want you to state that goal from the perspective that it's already closed. Like you closed the business. It's done. You're throwing a party, right? So let that sense of it come over you and sort of give you perspective and give you energy and insight and motivation. But I want you to come up with a number for you and your business. Now, the next column is weekly KPI targets. And so KPI stands for Key Performance Indicators. They are the things that you look to that tell you where you are in your business, if you're being effective, if you're making progress or not. This is the data part of setting a goal. And since we're a networking organization, these goals are set up around networking activities. So the idea here is in 90 days, you know what number you want to hit as far as your revenue. So with that, you should have a pretty good idea. If you don't, do some work on this, but you should have a pretty good idea of how many new clients you need to close that dollar figure in business. From there, this is a reverse engineering kind of process. From there, you start to back out, okay, how many proposals do I need to send in order to get that number of clients? From there, how many sales conversations do I need to have in order to get to the proposal stage? How many meaningful conversations do I need to have in order to have X number of sales conversations? You see where this is going. How many one-on-one networking conversations do I need to have? How many networking meetings do I need to go to? And I threw this last one in, speaking events. It's what we're doing now. How many speaking events do I need to schedule so that I can have a significant networking exposure so that I can ultimately get the number of clients that I need to get? Okay, so that's the metrics part. That's what will help you stay on target. Next column is the activities, and this is where we're talking about the specific changes that need to happen. Remember what I said? We're going to identify things to start doing, stop doing, things to correct, and things to improve. So, John, leave this slide up here for just a minute, if you will. So I put some examples in there. Start doing might look like we're going to create a speaking strategy. I've never spoken before, so I need to figure out what I'm going to speak on, where I'm going to speak, how do I go about it. We need to create that strategy if you've not spoken before. Identify an additional networking group so I can get more networking exposure. Here's an idea. We're going to apply the RGA Speaks Business Builders that, I really used as kind of placemats when I went to the meetings. I didn't fill them out. I'm going to download those again and actually fill them out. Stop doing. I'm going to stop procrastinating. Yeah, Mark loves that one. I'm going to stop procrastinating. I know there's things I've been kicking down the road, cans that I've been kicking down the road. Correct. I'm going to correct my I can't mindset. I'm going to change that. Improve. I'm going to improve my networking preparation. I'm going to improve my marketing collateral and my sales pitch. Right? I'm using the same sales pitch now that I used 3 years ago. Time to change it. All right, so the idea here is, just to summarize, the results are stated in the past tense. Envision your future. From the weekly KPI targets, figure out what's required to produce the results that you need, the metrics that will tell you where you are in your business's performance. And then finally, identify the changes. What will you start doing, stop doing, correct, and improve so that you can achieve the number that you want to achieve? Lastly, and this is just a real quick sense here, this is not just a one-off event here. We're not just talking about a 90-day thing. We're talking about setting up on an execution cycle that will allow this to become a regular part of your business. This will be as regular as turning the lights on when you walk in the room. I want you to think of it this way. 3 things. 1, a quarterly rhythm. Secondly, that's executed or a quarterly rhythm that happens at a weekly cadence that then is executed daily. So when you know what needs to happen in a quarter, that really breaks down conveniently to a weekly cadence that then is executed daily. And this is what successful companies do. It just becomes a part of their operation. So over a year, they're in this quarterly rhythm, weekly cadence, and executed daily. That's the secret. That's what sets successful companies apart, and they excel at this. All right, so just to close out, this is a 90-day sprint that we're talking about. I want you to set goals. I hope what you hear from all this is setting goals is not just something we do to perform. Don't set goals that keep you stuck in your status quo and just call you to work harder and perform harder. Set goals that will actually transform who you are and transform you as a business owner, as a leader, and transform your team. You want to be, I think of it this way, a year from now, do you want to be the same company, the same leader, the same as you are right now? Who wants that? I know I don't. I want to be a different person. I want my influence to expand. I want to get my products and services out to more and more people because I believe what I do is going to change the world. That's my perspective. I want to be transformed, not just focus on performing. That's it. Thanks.